This edition of MacVoices is brought to you by Take Control Books, the answers you need now from leading experts. Learn more and download yours at takecontrolbooks.com. I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices in San Francisco at WWDC and the AltConference. We're in the Alt Labs section of Jillian's here, talking to Florian of Elgato about what's new with Elgato and what everything that happened yesterday means. Florian, it's great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity.
So, I don't know where to start. Should we start with Elgato and what the product mix is right now? Should we talk about the WWDC announcements, or which do you prefer?
I think the key word you already mentioned is the product mix. Elgato, if you look at our website, is actually a quite diverse company. We make a lot of things from gaming accessories to television tuners for iPhones and iPads, as well as Macs and Windows. We make storage products and a couple of other devices. Usually there's some hardware component to them. We like to think of ourselves as a software company, however. A lot of the products that we make shine because we make software that makes them, very easy to use. And they integrate very well with the software. We've always been Mac people at heart, even though now we've become moving a little bit towards Windows and Android and other platforms. For the most part, we've been loyal to the Mac, and we certainly love the Mac the most. The key thing is we like to bring great user experiences with hardware products, which is something that I believe we have in common with Apple as well.
When I think of Elgato, I think of a lot of video recording hardware and software that you've brought to market.
Absolutely.
And what a challenge that's been as things have gotten more sophisticated. Copy protection has gone a couple different directions.
Oh, yeah.
And even over-the-air broadcast stuff has become a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on that currently?
It's increasingly challenging to make products that still have a wide mass appeal because of the fragmentation. In addition to all the different TV standards, we now have online streaming competing with that, of course. So a lot of people are not only cutting the cable, but they're cutting any form of broadcast television altogether, and instead they're moving to online only and get their content that way. At the same time, that does open the opportunity for us to fill in some of those niches of live content that people don't necessarily get satisfied with just online content. There's local television, local news, broadcasts, and other things like that you can still receive over the air, and for that, there's still a great use. Obviously, adding mobile as a platform and making it possible to receive broadcast television content anywhere where you're sitting without cutting into your data budget is another appeal with that we are happy that we can fulfill.
And it's surprising to me how many people don't explore that option a little more. I mean, we still don't have a great live TV solution for the iPad or the iPhone.
Right.
There's some that are trying it, but it usually means broadband, and that means chewing up data, and that means money. And yet you can go to a drugstore here in the U.S. and buy a cheap little TV and pull signals right off the air. And I just wonder why that hasn't caught on a little bit more.
I wonder too.
Okay.
That makes two of us. The US has been challenging because the over-the-air availability of content has always been limited. You have Comcast, you have DirecTV, you have Dish. All their content is encrypted. And they have not been known to be very open and accessible to small third-party vendors like us to take a slice out of that programming that's available and offer it to viewers on any kind of platform, really.
Right.
So they like to control their set-top boxes. They want you to watch in the living room. If you stream online, then you better use their app. Otherwise, you just can't play. That makes it hard for us. It's a little different in other countries. In the US, there are some efforts to get mobile television going, but then you end up with maybe 4 or 5 channels in a city like San Francisco, it's very difficult to make that an appealing customer proposition where people really buy into it and think that's great.
And it's really interesting because we will think nothing of putting a movie or a video of some kind on our iPad or iPhone and carry it with us and then watch it when we have the opportunity.
Yeah.
But to have mobile TV seems to be a huge mental leap for some reason.
It is. The problem is content. It's a little bit of a chicken and egg problem. When there's no content, people don't buy the devices you need to receive the content. And if there are not enough devices to receive the content, then the content providers don't have much of an incentive to invest in making their content available for these new streaming or, broadcast platforms.
Yeah. So, Elgato has this range of products.
Yeah.
What yesterday struck you? And I realize, again, we've been saying this morning, it's only 24 hours old now.
Right.
But right out of the gate, certain announcements resonated with certain people in relation to their products. What resonated with you for Elgato?
The key feature for us at Elgato, I believe, was the keyword that was eminent all over the keynote, which is integration. Integrating iCloud, integrating iOS, integrating OS X. All these platforms are very tightly integrated now. But the greatest thing about this keynote was that now Apple is inviting third parties to become a part of that. No longer are you restricted to just an app which runs, but outside of your app, you have no access to any screen real estate, short of notification center, but then that's very limited again in what you can do. Right. Now Apple opened up custom widgets, which is great. We can display any kind of information, current television programming, updates and other things, the status of your recordings, maybe if you're talking about television programs. But there are a lot of other things that we are currently playing with. Bluetooth Smart, Bluetooth LE is a great new technology that we've invested quite some time. We're looking forward a lot to seeing what is going to be available and accessible for us with the new capabilities, what we can do to bring more information about people's environments and so forth to users.
Yeah. The idea of being able to cross from one device to the other, too, I think is, for what you do, there are a lot of options there as well.
Yes.
But the idea that now we're still living in a sandboxed world, but there's a path out of the sandbox, and there's a path through the sandbox.
Yeah.
And I think that, for a lot of folks, that's suddenly very exciting.
If you can't beat it, embrace it. So try to play to the very edge of that sandbox. Figure out what are the actual limitations, what can you get away with. That's something we've been doing for some years. And I believe people have always appreciated that we are a little bit of the underdog when it comes to, like you said, television content, editing TV content. You can edit out your commercials and so forth, which is not at all in the interest of the broadcasters, of course. But it's one of those things that we've been able to enable. And we have some other ideas in that direction as well, where going forward, hopefully we can play within the rules, but stretch them just as much as we need to.
Has that been a challenge for Elgato? And I don't want to put you on too much of a spot, but trying to find that balance of trying to... The consumers don't want to look at any commercials. Well, that's not realistic. But the networks want to give you 15 minutes of commercials an hour.
Yeah.
That's not realistic any longer either, and I think they're starting to realize that.
Oh, yeah.
So trying to find that balance, and you all are trying to solve it with hardware and software. They're trying to defeat you with hardware and software.
Of course.
It's this constant battle.
Yeah. It is a battle. At this time, I believe we found a middle ground. We have these features available. We are looking into extending some of that. It's not very easy to really break a lot of new ground in the area, but we have some ideas that we are working on.
Good.
Interesting point here, by the way, it's not just the broadcasters who are with us and against us in this. It's also Apple, who have this love-hate relationship to what we do. At the same time, we bring people to the platform who enjoy watching television, or we fulfill this need of broadcast television on the platform. At the same time, because we do that, Apple, who wants to sell more content, are really not in favor of us. Luckily, I believe we are such a small player in the field that, compared to the revenues that the iTunes store is making with television shows as well as movie premium content and so forth, I don't think really there's any hard feelings from Apple's side or ours.
No, I mean, it's all business. It's not like there may be some philosophical differences, but at the end of the day, it's all business.
Of course.
And so you have to find a way to work together.
Absolutely.
I think some of the politicians could take a lesson from that.
Yeah.
That's another discussion.
Next time.
Florian, the website for people to go and learn more about all of Elgato's products.
www.elgato.com. It's ELGATO.com.
Great. It's great to have you. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. We are at, where are we? We're at AltConference and WWDC in San Francisco. We'll be back with more soon. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for links, show notes, to subscribe, to connect with Chuck on Twitter, app.net, Google+, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, the MacVoices Dispatch, to stay up to date with all the latest MacVoices news from our front page or at MacVoices.com/newsletter. Advertising and sponsorships handled by Backbeat Media at BackbeatMedia.com.